Welcome back, fellow newshounds. I'm Gruftikins, and here I try to bring you some of the news you may not see on your standard news networks. Today, President Trump said Fire and Fury comment was not tough enough. China backs North Korea, and North Korea targets Guam. After 3 days of the escalating war on words, President Donald Trump has added to his previous statement, and instead of backing down said, "Frankly, the people who are questioning that statement, was it too tough? Maybe it wasn't tough enough." This of course follows the press conference where he said that if North Korea continued to threaten the US, they would be hit with fire and fury like the world has never seen before. Despite Trump not saying whether the US was considering a preemptive strike, the US Air Force has said it was ready to fight tonight if called to do so. There is no doubt that the B-1B bombers stationed at Andersen Air Force Base on Guam are on alert to launch immediately if needed, and a preemptive strike using the supersonic bombers will be one of the military options on the table for serious consideration. The most powerful bomber in the US arsenal, they have a hugely devastating array of weapons at their fingertips, including an air-to-surface missile that can be fired from 500 nautical miles away. This means they can initiate a launch from well outside Korean territory. A senior US intelligence official has actually said there is no good option but a unilateral American bomber strike not supported by any assets in the South constitutes the best of a lot of bad options. This option may in fact be more realistic than you think, as it is common knowledge that the B-1B is no longer able to carry a nuclear payload. All the countries with a vested interest in the escalating situation will know this, particularly Russia, China, and of course North Korea. So if a US attack does take place, they will at least know it is not a nuclear strike. Of course, that may not make much difference in the long run, as Kim Jong-un could very well respond with a devastating and massive launch against South Korea's capital city, Seoul. And with the huge amount of artillery and missiles along the Korean border, it is inevitable that much of it would get through. If Kim sees any attack as the beginning of the end, or a threat to him personally, he will very likely launch everything he has in every direction he can, including Japan, Guam, and possibly even mainland America. But it doesn't end there. China's state-run newspaper, the Global Times, explicitly said that if the US does attack first, then China will side with North Korea. More worryingly, they also said that if North Korea strikes first, then China will remain neutral and not become involved. They have said they are opposed to any action that attempts to overthrow the Korean regime and change the political pattern of the Korean peninsula. The editorial read, "China opposes both nuclear proliferation and war in the Korean peninsula. It will not encourage any side to stir up military conflict and will firmly resist any side which wants to change the status quo of the areas where China's interests are concerned." Coming hot on the heels of China's show of force with massive live-fire naval drills in the Yellow Sea this week, it seems they are sending a clear message. Unfortunately, neither side is taking much notice of advice to calm down the rhetoric, and North Korea has pushed things up a notch again by saying their next missile test will send 4 ballistic missiles to land in the waters surrounding the island of Guam. Given the inaccuracy of their last ICBM test, this could easily result in an accident, culminating in a missile actually hitting the island itself. And even if that doesn't happen and they do land in the surrounding ocean, it is unlikely the US will sit still after such blatant provocation. I will try to keep you informed about this and other stories from around the globe. So hit that subscribe button for further updates. And don't forget, the world is watching, so please be kind to each other